Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, I want to talk about 5 things that are impacting our marketplace right now and what we're capable of doing that you need to keep in mind. Number 1 is purchasers and what's going on with purchasing. Remember that first-time home buyers, they're going to reduce as a percentage of all purchasers right now, unless and until there's some sort of government-assisted down payment programs. That's because prices have increased significantly, and when prices increase significantly and appraisals don't keep up with them, that means that more cash is involved. First-time home buyers routinely have trouble with the amount of cash that they need. Payments are looking good and everything else, but not the cash. Now, what that also means is sellers in many instances are getting multiple offers, and they're getting above what would be a top-end CMA offer or above what they're asking for the property. You need to remember a couple of things there, but that is if you represent the seller, and you can take this on the other end if you represent the buyer. What that means is if that appraisal comes in low, and we're seeing lots of that happen, the only way your client's going to get to keep the property is if they have the cash available to purchase above and beyond the appraised value. What that requires is a proof of cash. If you're not helping your seller out by requiring a proof of cash for an offer you know to be above asking price, you're going to be in trouble. If you do a buyer and you're letting a buyer make that offer, you need to stop thinking that the appraised value is going to save you and allow your client to get an extension or a reduced price. It's simply not happening. There are multiple offers, and people who aren't even accepting backups are going back out on the market and getting better offers. Use the appraisal addendum for anything that's not FHA or VA. Make sure you're getting those values listed on there for where your client can walk away if it doesn't reach a certain value. That value doesn't have to be the asking price. It could be a percentage of how much you think over, but do what you can to protect your buyers. Now, number 2 item, appraisals themselves. They're coming in significantly low, and a lot of that is because you haven't looked at the neighborhood you're buying in. If you look at the neighborhood you want to buy in, you need to do a 6-month CMA and a 12-month CMA. Why? Because a 12-month CMA, if it's larger than the 6-month CMA in price, the price is going down in the neighborhood. And you need to know that when you make the offer. If it's going the other way, the price is going up. And what we're seeing is lots of people putting houses on the market at the top end of the CMA values and then getting multiple offers driving that price up. Unfortunately, when the appraiser comes into the neighborhood, nothing else has sold in that neighborhood under those conditions, and all they can use is closed sales. Guess what? Low value. We're seeing much of that. The other thing we're seeing with appraisals is they're taking 30 to 40 days to get to the lender. Now, what that means is if you've got 30 to 40 days and you're going to do a 45-day closing, you need to order the appraisal immediately. With ordering an appraisal immediately, you have to advise your client that we still haven't even done our inspections. So we're going to be negotiating our inspections, and we're going to be getting the appraisal done, and your client could be at risk as a buyer for those 2 amounts of money. And if he's at risk for those 2 amounts of money, he could have both come in and not enable him to buy the property, and now he's going to be out of pocket money. You need to do those. Number 2 on appraisals. Did you do a CMA for your buyer? I'll bet not. And if you didn't do a CMA for a buyer and you let him put anything in the way of a price above an asking price or even at an asking price right now, you have not given your client the service he needs. Number 3, did you carefully look at the closing disclosure that came from title? It is your job and your responsibility to make sure that the items in the contract are reflected on that closing disclosure. And oftentimes it's not happening right now, and it's not happening because they are extremely busy as well. Number 4, loan approvals. They're taking a long time with this low of interest rate, the advanced equity that's going on in property. Guess what's happening to mortgage lenders? They are busy as they have ever been. Refis are back in the market. If you don't want your client being down and in the bottom of the pile, you need to make sure that the loan information package that is necessary for them to get a loan is as complete as possible when they show up. Last but not least, inspections. Remember, when we're going into inspections on multiple offers, too many sellers are looking for the best deal and somebody who's willing to take it as is. Be very cautious of a buyer who's willing to take a property as is. It's absolutely necessary that you let them know it still needs to be inspected, that you still need to request, if you possibly can, what repairs need to be done. If nothing else, to point out that you are aware those are there and that you have had a discussion with your buyer about those repairs. And please do not let a buyer waive entirely the option period. If you want to shorten it, that's great, but we need to have some option period so we can demonstrate we've had the discussion with the buyer on how important that period is. Well, long video, that's it for me. Go out and enjoy the rest of this holiday time frame, and let's hit the ground running in January.